Stop trying to make conquering France happen. It's not going to happen. Bonjour, Kiddo. I'm Joan of Arc. You may remember me from being canonized as a patron saint for heroically leading the French army in the 100-Year War, with literally no military training, while rocking the world's first ever bob hairstyle, and wearing men's military armor, all while being a 17-year-old girl. So I'm known for my battle victories.
She's kind of a big deal.
People all over the world have come to recognize me for the bravery and courage I demonstrated at the Battle of Patron, the Battle of Jargeau, and of course the Siege of Orléans, which I crushed so hard that they gave me the nickname, the Maid of Orléans.
You like me. You really like me.
Now I may have led armies and fought against great odds, but let me tell you a little secret. None of these even come close to being the toughest battle of my life. That, Kiddo, was my battle to learn how to read and write. Yes, believe it or not, I couldn't read a single word when I was your age. You see, I was born in 1412 in a little town called Domremy, a village in northeastern France. Let's just say I was no Parisian princess.
Let them eat cake.
I came from a pretty humble background with a very limited education. S'il vous plaît, monsieur, puis-je en avoir plus? So I really struggled with reading and writing. This was not exactly ideal in later years when I had to deal with things like reading frontline battlefield messages, writing military plans, and negotiating certain diplomatic situations. I want to speak with my lawyer, but I wasn't going to let this stop me, so I decided to cover this up and make up for it in other ways. I surrounded myself with super smart people and outsourced all of my reading.
X-A-12.
Sweet. Are those military coordinates?
No, I have been blessed with another offspring.
Then, to inspire my troops, I would constantly be flexing my courage, confidence, and determination, all while secretly hoping this would never become an issue. And guess what? For a while, this kinda worked. I got so good at hiding my secret that I eventually even convinced myself that reading was overrated. I mean, after all, I was on a divine mission, being guided by the voices of no other than Saint Michael, Saint Margaret, and Saint Catherine.
You've got this.
So I just kept telling myself, yo, I got this, it's all bien. But deep down I knew it was not bien at all. On the outside, I wore my super brave face. But on the inside, I felt embarrassed and pretty disappointed. I tried my best to get on with my mission. After all, what other choice did I have? Then one day, Jean Dolan, my squire, barged into my tent and handed me a fancy scroll with an urgent message from Charles VII, who, in case you have been living under a baguette, was literally the Dauphin, which means heir to the French throne. I was just about to ask Jean for privacy, but really so that I could summon my reading assistant.
Excellent.
When I finally decided enough was enough, I thought, if I can be brave enough to ask my troops to fight in battle, then I can certainly be brave enough to ask someone to help me learn how to read and write. So I decided to tell Jean about my secret, and asked if he could read the letter to me. Then I noticed a massive smile come over John's face.
Of course I can, Joan. But I have a better idea. You know how I'm like a ravenous reader and a wannabe writer? Well, my real dream is to be a tremendous teacher. So how about instead, I teach you how to read this letter for yourself?
And that is how Jean, my former squire, became my reading teacher. Of course I applied my usual dose of determination and resilience.
Une minute, s'il vous plaît.
And guess what? This was no 100-year war. I had won my battle to learn how to read and write within just a few months. As for the letter, I can now read to you what it said. In recognition for your military successes, I hereby grant you a noble title. Sincerely, Charles VII, the Dauphin, which, in case you didn't realize, means heir to the throne. This, by the way, made me the first woman to ever receive such an honor during the medieval period. So remember, Kiddo, when you are facing your next battle, asking for help is never a sign of weakness, but rather a courageous choice that leads us to greater wisdom and strength. If you enjoyed my journey and want to get more historical bedtime Starytimes, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you know another kid that would enjoy this, please share the love with them too. We appreciate your support. Oh, and if you want to see how Starytime stories can be personalized just for you, with your name and more like
Guten Morgen, James.
Hola, Olivia!
1,000 good morrows to you, Zach.
Go to www.starytime.com. Thanks for watching my Starytime. Dream big.